Welcome to the TMC Newsroom. Rich Tehrani here. Thanks for watching. We're at Interop 2012 in Las Vegas, Nevada. On the program is Charles Thompson. He's the Director of Product Strategy and Network Instruments. Charles, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Rich. Appreciate it.
So you recently, your company did a survey on public and private cloud adoption. I was hoping we could talk about that. What was the reason for the survey?
Well, we wanted to get a feel from Interop attendees as to how prolific the cloud has become in enterprise organizations. So here on the trade show floor, we pulled 102 Interop attendees, primarily network engineers, network managers, and other executives.
And what sorts of workloads are they migrating to the cloud?
Well, what we saw was that about 74% of the attendees had adopted cloud in one form or another. The workloads primarily were technologies like test and development, email, and storage. Those are the big technology areas that are getting pushed up to the cloud.
Now, what about private cloud adoption? I also hear that you delved a little bit deeper into determining exactly what is meant by private cloud by the people that you surveyed. So what were the results?
We did. A number of the organizations are leveraging private cloud only to the extent of virtualizing their server environments. And that's sort of a first step in a lot of instances towards approaching a cloud. But we did find that about 20% of the attendees were actually leveraging internal SLAs and service catalogs as part of their private cloud adoption. So really starting to embrace all of the different components of private cloud, not just the server virtualization aspect.
Now, in terms of benefits and challenges, what sorts of things did you hear there?
Well, a ton of benefit, obviously, in terms of flexibility and spend for the organizations, and a pretty noticeable increase in user experience benefit. Organizations are finding that their users are very satisfied with the applications that are running in the cloud. The challenge with cloud adoption always seems to be managing and troubleshooting the performance in the cloud. While performance tends to be fairly good, when problems do arise, IT organizations feel fairly blind and powerless to address the challenges that are occurring.
Your company's in that space though, right?
We absolutely are. As a performance management vendor, we offer the ability to apply network and application performance management to cloud-based environments and also be able to leverage things like the APIs from public cloud vendors to be able to acquire resource information from within the cloud. So you can actually have visibility both from your user perspective and from the cloud perspective, even though that resource is now being hosted outside of your control.
So let's go through some examples of how you would help in this sort of, or in a troubled cloud environment. For example, if all of a sudden performance is being affected on Salesforce, how would your company come in to help?
Absolutely. So what we would be able to do is to be able to identify the performance of all users for Salesforce, be able to break it down into geographical areas to see if the degradation is impacting only specific sets of users. We'd also be able to track which areas of Salesforce are being impacted, and then be able to determine if the problem is a network or application-based issue, so that organizations could then provide a lot more information to Salesforce in terms of addressing the challenges and addressing the problems that are occurring.
Fantastic. Now, one other question is, you've got viewers out there that are considering buying products from you, and I want to make sure that they know how you differentiate. If they want to buy from you versus a competitor, what would be the reason to buy from you?
Well, the big reasons are the depth of analysis. Network Instruments has vendor support that surpasses anything in the industry. We support a number of different cloud vendors, a number of different virtualization vendors. So really the depth of vendor support and the depth of the analysis. Second to that is the ability to perform real-time analysis inside of the environment. So there's not a lot of delay. As problems are occurring, we're able to witness that, do behavior analysis and learning to be able to identify trends that are normal for the environment, and then be able to quickly see the deviation from those trends. So a lot of it comes down to the analytics that are applied to the data and the ability to acquire that data from a lot of different perspectives and correlate it together. One thing that you'll see is that a lot of times a cloud monitoring solution is very limited in its focus. It only pulls a little bit of information, say for example from Amazon's API or Google's API. It doesn't have the ability to leverage all the other components of application performance management and network performance management that give you that whole perspective in the context of what's really happening both inside of your controlled environment and out in the cloud.
So what's next?
What's next? There's a lot of big things happening in terms of server consolidation right now. 40 gig is getting rolled out inside of data centers pretty aggressively, so we're seeing a lot of adoption of that. Been talking to a lot of the Interop attendees about our new 40 gig solution that's just been released and how they can take advantage of that in their environments.
And 100, I guess, will be maybe next year or 2 years from now.
Absolutely, yep.
It's
all part of the same spec,
right?
so it's very, I think it'll be very, very fast.
Excellent. Thanks for being on the program.
Appreciate you having me. It's great.